Hey all, Kurt Sasser here from TGT Media at Fan Expo Canada 2013. We're joined today by the very talented Joel Watson from Hijinks Ensue. How are you doing today?
Doing great, man. What's going on?
Hey, another convention and another amazing interview.
Tell you what, it's it's the one of two shows I do in Canada, and it's definitely the bigger of the two. And it's to get here from Texas is a bit of a almost insurmountable feat. So I'm happy to be here now that I'm here. I've been here for like an hour. So.
Well, welcome back to the great land of the north there, and we'll toss you a beer or two.
Look, that's all. I understand that's your currency, and I'm hoping to bring home lots of it. So.
Fair enough. When it comes down to it, everyone usually has one or two people that kind of set them on their path, that kind of inspired them to where they are going in their life. Who inspired you?
Oh, good question. It was actually my daughter. When she was born, I realized I was kind of on the wrong path for life. I was in a sort of a not dead end, but just sort of soulless sales job, making a ton of money and really unhappy all the time. And after I had a kid, I kind of was forced to face mortality and realized that if I wanted her to be proud of what I was doing, I would need to change some things. And so I started the comic about 3 months after she was born. And by the time she was a year and a half old, it was my full-time job. So as far as impetus for doing a thing, she'd be the first. And then as far as, people, I kind of patterned myself off early on, like 2007, 2008. I was really paying attention to musician Jonathan Colton. He was sort of circumventing the music industry and dealing directly with his fans and cutting out all the middlemen and, producing his own recordings and shows and tours and all that. And I tried to kind of adapt that model to online comics, where I just cut out as many of the middlemen as I could, made stuff for the people I was trying to reach, not for everybody. And that was a big push in the right direction, I think, just sort of paying attention to what guys like him, the sort of genuine honesty in art, I guess. I used to follow him. I'd follow Will Wheaton when he would sort of at the same time was kind of trying to redefine his career from TV actor to writer, and then from writer back to TV actor. Just seeing people roughly my age doing roughly the same thing in different industries, and realizing that it was all about finding your audience, being honest with them, and giving them something they could enjoy, and then giving them an easy way to give you money for it was the other hurdle. So I just tried to turn that into a model that worked for comics, and so far, I'm still doing it 6 years later. So.
Well, then, a great follow-up question is, do you consider yourself successful?
Absolutely. Every day that I'm doing this job and not something I don't want to do, I'm successful. I make less than half the money I made at my last real job, and I have 10 times the happiness. So you weigh those two things, and it's not even a question. There are times, just like any job, where I think, why do I still put up with this aspect of it, or why did this T-shirt do well and this one's not? And then you step back and you realize, I'm not slinging coffee, I'm not climbing a corporate ladder, I'm not a slave to some soulless corporation or boss that hates me. I get to do exactly what I want to do, when I want to do it, how I want to do it. And, if I didn't have enough money to even support myself and my family, then of course it would be a money issue. But I've got enough to keep doing this, for another 3 months maybe, and I just keep going. So that's how I measure the success. I'm happy, my family's happy, they're taken care of, and I get to do what I want. And there's no price, you can put on that. There's no dollar amount where you would say I'm successful because I made X this year, So yeah, it could go away at any time. It's very fleeting, it seems. So I just keep doing it while I can.
Then how do you deal with your failures?
It's rough. In this industry especially, you put something on the internet and you have a reaction within seconds. You have tweets coming in and maybe emails coming in, and you have maybe you're counting your page views. Maybe you're checking your social media to see if people are liking things and sharing it with other people. and everyone kind of finds their own way to gauge, was this well received? I have some friends that only look at Facebook likes. That's their measure. I have other friends that consider Tumblr to be the end-all be-all, and so they look at reblogs and they say, this comic got X number of reblogs, this one got none, this must have been a failure. I look at it sort of as a whole, almost more of a feeling like, well, I put this out there and I got a handful of good comments and people seem to be sharing it and liking it and retweeting the punchline, which is not necessarily doing me a service, but it means they liked it. So, and those I tend to feel good about. It's usually the ones that I put the most effort into that fall the flattest. That's when I realized maybe I was too inside my own head, or I made something that only 7 other people in the universe could understand. And when that happens, it's a little, it's not crushing, but it's a little discouraging, and you just kind of have to start over. Make another one, make the next thing, make the next comic, put up something new. Don't try and redo that joke, or don't try and remake that comic to make it better received. I've had shirts that I thought were hilarious that sold under 10, and you put 20 hours into a design and then you don't even get your money back for your time. It's tough, but in this internet industry, people are looking at 1,000 things a day, and they don't necessarily care where it comes from. They don't really care who made it. They just want to laugh and move on. And so as quickly as they forget your successes, they also forget your failures. So if you made a bomb yesterday, no one's going to remember it in like 3 days. And then the other side of that is the longer lasting failures of, maybe I launched a Kickstarter and it didn't fund, or maybe I tried to go to a con, I put all this time and effort into it and I didn't make any money. Those kind of things I think hit harder. The more effort you put into it and the less return you get is harder, and it can get really discouraging. You can, a crappy email from a unsatisfied reader can go a long way towards making you not want to do this anymore. And then you get a nice email the next day and you're like, that's right, that's why I'm doing this, and you just get right back on the horse. I think you can't make stuff and give it away for free to the internet unless you are willing to get completely rejected one day and then lauded as a genius the next day, and then just keep that cycle going perpetually, really.
Awesome. The younger generation are coming through. They're looking towards you as an inspiration for themselves.
If you say so.
I do, and they do. They do. How can they become inspirational themselves?
I think it just comes down to honesty. I see people younger than me with a lot more success by any measure, and it always comes down to making something honest. I'm making this because I believe in it. I'm making this because it makes me laugh, or I'm making this because it makes me cry. Whatever it is, if there's honesty behind it, coupled with a reasonable amount of talent, people that can't draw and are honest are doing very well for themselves right now, So I think it's about, kindness and honesty. Be kind to the people that approach you about your work, and be kind to your peers, and try and elevate people. The moment you have more than someone else, try and bring someone along for the ride. If you've got more readers, link to another site that needs a boost that you like. If you've got pull at a convention, try and get your friends a table. Elevate as opposed to beat down, which I think is all too common where internet personalities are concerned. If you're in a cult of personality, it's very easy to be a monster, sort of. It's not easy to me, but I see it so much that it must be easy for some. So just try and build as opposed to destroy, and then keep your work true and keep it as high a quality as you can. And the moment you hate it, stop. The moment it's a chore, stop. Do something else. The moment you're doing it just for the money, stop. The moment you feel like you're pandering, stop. And I think that'll go a long way to keeping. This business is about people liking you and your work. It's not enough to be some enigma that puts out high quality work. That doesn't work for very many people. You usually have to be part of the product yourself, and you have to sell that you are a nice person who deserves the support of people. The biggest jerk in the world with the most popular comic is probably not doing as well as the kind indie artist who is very responsive to their fans, even if it's a much smaller number of fans. Answer your emails, talk to people on Twitter, talk to people on Facebook, be accessible, and lead through examples. So if you've got 500 people reading your website or your comic or downloading your songs or whatever, there's a guy out there that only has 10 people. So be an inspiration to that guy and just keep it going.
And can I get you? Well, sorry, I'm jumping ahead there. No, Joel, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. Really appreciate it as always. And what's the website we can go to, obviously, for your comic?
Hijinksensue.com, spelled impossibly. No X. It's HIJINKSENSUE.com. You can find my comic and links to all my other internet presences there. You're watching TGT. I don't know what that stands for.